Travelers on the Omnibus occasionally touches on mature subject matter with mature language. As such, the audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to Travelers on the Omnibus, a field trip through nerd and pop culture. I'm Jody Kite.
I'm Ethan Skinner.
I'm James McCarthy.
And I'm Brady Davis. I'm going to bring the energy up because these two motherfuckers brought it right back down after you brought it up.
That's right, Brady. We've got to get the show on the road because Ethan's dying.
In the arms of the angel.
At most, I'd probably have a year in me.
I like that. I like
feel like I have a
singing
year
that.
in me.
Singing that
From a
signals that
star-cold hotel room.
Ethan is an abused dog.
Hello, I'm Sarah McLachlan.
That commercial would always hit when I was like halfway through eating a piece of pizza, and I'd be like, "Motherfucker!"
For me, it'd be third quarter of a Saints game.
Yeah.
Like it's like 4 points either way, and then it's like the arms of
Way to
the
bring the room
angels.
down.
Yeah.
I'm Sarah McLachlan.
That-
Five dogs died today.
It's always
If you want to keep dogs from dying, give me money.
it's always
That's what it felt like. She was probably like
Yeah.
supportive of the the ASPCA or something, but like, I can't get over they would show dogs without eyes, and that's horror shit.
Yeah.
If you're not prepared for it,
Yeah.
For
yeah.
me.
Would you like to donate money for this adopt a dog from the movie Coraline?
For me, it's always at 4 a.m. When I wake up from my sleep, right after the George Lopez show title roll. It's always that for me.
Super impressive. Ethan hasn't been able to hear out of his left ear for a week.
Yeah, no, I'm half deaf at this point.
He's
Things
just
are great.
slowly losing body parts.
he's half deaf, and the other half don't hear too well either. So
He's
just
gonna
the way
be-
it is.
I have
Next
to
week
look
he's
at-
going to be half blind.
I have to look at. I'm already there.
He's
What are you talking about?
He's going to be
I'm
dragging
already
a foot
there.
the week after.
I just come in, just all
You're
my
going to
limbs are
have two
gone.
stand-up shows named after you.
We're probably going to just all get bitten and spread whatever plague this is.
Who's letting him bite him first? What?
He's getting to y'all first. Like,
Oh no! I've seen every zombie
Who do I
movie.
get to first? That is a good question.
All right, so okay, so you're a zombie, right?
Okay,
I've got
I'm
slime to
All
protect
right.
me.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
What,
I am Slime. Nice to meet you.
What type of zombie? Am I like one of the like really fast zombies from like World War Z, or like one of the dumb ones from Zombieland?
Return of the
do we
Living
have
Dead.
do we
Also
have to really answer that, Ethan?
I'm gonna set it up.
Okay.
You are jetpack zombie. So here's how it works. You have a jetpack.
Okay.
It has variable speeds,
Well,
and no
now-
matter how high
now we're
we
getting
climb,
ridiculous.
Yeah, no matter how high we climb, you can just get to us easily. So,
Okay.
who you biting?
Who trips and fall? Who's the clumsiest out of the three of y'all?
Somebody getting double tapped, and it ain't gonna be
Brady's pretty lanky, so I think he would trip first. I'm not
Sure.
So there you go.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but-
if
yeah,
you
but
want
I
to put money on that, it's fine.
Yeah, but I think he's like secretly like a very good like climber.
You have a jetpack. That is my answer to that.
me. Ethan, what have you been up to besides hypothetical questions?
And
dying.
Yeah.
Well, Jay beat me to it.
Yeah.
I'm still working on the Planet of the Apes movies, but death gets in the way. However, in the meantime, I finished Another Crab's Treasure.
Nice.
Okay.
The final boss is a hermit crab that found a shell that has ancient hermit crab powers that is able to just bend physics and
Okay.
just
Nice.
just recreate the ocean at whim.
Okay.
I was kind of hoping that show would be the Ruby of Sidorak, and it's basically you're the Juggernaut crab. That'd be great.
One of the bosses before getting to the like the official end game was a crab that was like stuck to like a toilet seat, and he was like swatting like a toilet sponge at me. It psychs me out a little bit because after I defeated it, I'm going towards the toilet to go down it deeper into the castle.
Yeah.
And then a crab pops out of the shell
Okay. Yeah.
and grabs like one of those like gag chomping teeth, and it becomes a crab with teeth.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
One of the things that I absolutely hated about the Little Mermaid movie, they gave the crab teeth.
Yeah.
Oh, the live action. Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
When you say you, air quotes, beat the game, there's got to be more to it, right?
Like it gets to the point where you're in the final area, and it gives you like the option of, are you sure you want to continue? Once you beat the game and you restart, you go back to your most previous save file.
Gotcha.
And so technically, I can go back and find all of the secret bosses.
New game plus
I think-
kind of thing.
I accidentally found a few of them while just normal playing. There's one called like the cursed carbonara consumer.
Oh, okay.
So some type of Italian crab that I'm going to have to fight at some point.
Nice.
But yeah, that's all I've been doing this week.
Jay, how about you?
So I finished Animal Wells three layers, and then I found there's a secret fourth layer.
Oh,
It's amazing. It's stuff I'm digging up now, and it's the depth of this just again continues to astound and impress me. I think Billy Bassett did an absolutely wonderful job with this game, and I'm really glad I followed along with it. I'm glad I've been able to play it. Spoilers. So if you want to play Animal Well and delve into it, don't listen to this part. But there is a puzzle at the end of the game. You get a key to your house, quote unquote, and your house has a TV in it, and then there's a locked upstairs. You can get in there. Well, eventually you'll find the key for the upstairs. It's your office, and you go in there, and the third tier is finding all of the hidden bunnies. And you go in there, and there's a computer on in there with the picture of a bunny on it. It's like, okay, so I'll interact with this, and and then it just does 3 dots. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And I'll just wait here, and then I hear a sound in my room, and it's my printer, and the game is printing out instructions for an origami bunny.
What?
And then when you put that bunny together, it solves the puzzle to get the bunny in the game.
Oh, okay.
10 out of 1. It's 10 times better than the best games of all time. Oh my god!
Nice.
Again, highly recommend if you love puzzle and Metroidvania games, and definitely now with the ARG component of that. I think
Right.
it was absolutely fantastic. So finished up that pretty much. Like I said, that 4th level I'm going to kind of dip in and out with. I did pick up. I reinstalled Steam because Steam was acting up, and when I reinstalled it, I had 300 gigabytes free.
Oh,
I didn't realize how much artifacts it leaves in games that you uninstall until I
Right.
completely purged Steam from my system. It was like, oh,
Gotcha.
I have all this space now again. And everything's running good, and we're happy about that. So I re-put in XCOM Enemy Unknown, which that's another one of my favorite from the last like 20 years of gaming.
Right.
Just that remake of XCOM just hits perfect. XCOM 2 is also very good. I don't know. For some reason I just like that their first remake. So I was happy, and I'm going back playing through that. And a game that I had bought during early access is finally out in full access, and it is Songs of Conquest. Lava Potion is the developer. One of my favorite strategy games of all time is Hero of Might and Magic 3. And that one I think is like on the short list of best strategy games of all time across numerous people. That one has universal acclaim to it. It is a very, very good spiritual successor to it. It's not by I don't think it's by any of the original people from New World Computing, but it's people who you can tell were highly influenced by it. Also, probably the other major reason I bought it, it has a faction called the Rana, which are all frogs. It has frogs, and so therefore it is the greatest video game of all time. Full stop. But no, if you like Heroes of Might and Magic 3, I'm just starting to get into the campaign of it again. There's 4 factions playable at the outset, which I think for balance reasons I think is very good. They're going to be rolling out DLC coming forward that I find very interesting, so I'll be happy to look at that. And it was very reasonably priced when I purchased it during early access, and I would highly recommend going out and look at it. If you want something new in the Heroes of Might and Magic style of turn-based, like on the movement on the board and then fighting in kind of a tactical hex area, absolutely, I highly recommend it. And that's pretty much it for me, because Memorial Day weekend at the job was just draining as all fun. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But there you go. But it was draining, but it was fulfilling because we got through another Memorial Day weekend.
Gotcha. Brady, what you been up to?
Yeah, not a whole lot. This. Oh, I do have something. So Friday went over to our friend Christopher Kane's house. Saturday, and not a whole lot of people showed up because his wife and a whole bunch of our friends were going on a cruise, so most of them were getting ready. But we ended up playing one of Chris's games that he complains that he never gets to play. And we played Cthulhu Death May Die.
Oh, okay.
Never heard of it.
That's the Eric Lang game, right?
Yes, it's the Eric Lang and Rob Daviau game.
Oh, that's right. Shoot, yeah.
In this one, you choose basically an episode, and then you choose an old one. The box that he had come with Cthulhu and Hastur. So we played episode 1 with the with Cthulhu, and you basically have to like stop the ritual from happening, but then Cthulhu comes out and you have to defeat Cthulhu to win. And it's kind of a it's a cooperative game, and it's got a very interesting mechanic because as you only have a little bit of health, but as you go through, you're also taking sandy damage, and you have a really long sandy track. But as you get to certain points, once you take sanity damage to get up to that point, you stop. It's called a threshold, and you get to one. You all have a flaw that you do, like you might be masochistic, or you might be obsessive compulsive, or agoraphobic and stuff like that. And you have to do whatever that says, which if you set it up right, can actually do good things for you, but they also can hurt you, or be an annoyance. And then you get to upgrade one of your abilities. Everybody has like 3 abilities that they start with, and you get to just upgrade them. And as you get further up, you also get to roll extra dice when you do any kind of like attack or a check or anything like that. So you don't, but if you get to the very end, then you die. Like that's one of the things. And when somebody dies, either by losing all their health or losing their sanity, then we just lose. So it's very, very interesting because you have to balance like not taking too much sanity damage, but you also want to take some sanity damage, because if you can upgrade some of those abilities all the way up, it gets kind of broken. So yeah, we played that. Like we played it and lost in like 30, 45 minutes, and everybody was just like, hey, let's just set this back up and try it again. It's very simple. Like it's, I think Chris broke it down pretty good. It's like a streamlined Arkham Horror, where it doesn't feel like overly complicated. You have 3 actions that you take. You have like 4 or 5 choices of actions to take, and then you draw you draw a mythos card, and you do what it says. It'll usually like move something or spawn a creature, spawn a monster. It may move down Cthulhu to be summoned. If he gets all the way to the very end, you automatically lose. And then if you're in an area with a monster, they attack you. If you're not in an area with a monster, you get to draw a discovery card, and it has a little thing, and you get to choose. You usually get something from it, like it'll say like take 2 stress to, like you could have took 2 stress to take a monkey companion, but then later you draw the monkey's paw, so you can sacrifice the monkey to make the monkey's paw.
Ooh,
yeah. There's a lot of little plays with that, and they'll be like, when you draw this companion, hey, it's this weird professor. If you have this spirit with you, he just like kills him like automatically, like you just discard him.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like, so there's a lot of little flavorful stuff. Like, I never got to do it, but I drew a card that was just a bottle of bleach. But if I got the bottle of ammonia, I could spend both of those to just deal 6 damage to everything in an area.
Nice.
That's next to me. And I was like, oh man, I really wanted to do that, but I couldn't do it. It's not when one person dies, it's if everybody dies.
Right.
I'm sorry about that, because I died before I was able to do it. And on our last person in that second game, we were able to defeat Cthulhu. It's a really fun game, and it's pretty cool because you can just get like more of the old ones and play a pretty different game. So you can play through all of because they're all going to play differently. They come with different extra minions, and they do different things and everything like that. Cthulhu's putting out relay portals all over the place, and bad things happen from that. A star spawn will come out, and that thing sucks ass.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really really fun game. I'd always heard good things about it, but I had never gotten a chance to play it. And I'm glad that we did, because it is a very, very fun game.
And what was it called again?
Cthulhu Death May Die.
Gotcha.
It's a really cool game. They have like a season 2 where it just has like extra monsters and extra scenarios. There's of course like a ton of Kickstarter stuff that's super expensive. And because that's what CMON does, is they make you want to.
Well, yeah.
They make you want to get in on their Kickstarters, and that's how they make all
make
the money
on the back end there.
But yeah, it's a really, really fun game, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah. So there's that. And then Sunday, since this was Memorial Day weekend, Holder and I came up to the shop here and played some more Shatterpoint, because we had both gotten some new strike team. We just both gotten some new teams. So I played the second Darth Vader, and he comes with a Stormtrooper Sergeant and 2 Stormtroopers, along with Moff Gideon from the Mandalorian show, and he comes with 2 Dark Troopers and a Death Trooper Sergeant. And Holder played the same Darth Vader box that I had, but then he also had the Luke Skywalker box, which comes with Leia as Bosch and R2-D2 and Lando, but he used the Obi-Wan that he has, who is a really annoying model. So we played some, and it was really, really fun. I really enjoyed the 2 teams that I had. Darth Vader is an absolute beast. He just wants to walk forward and hit things really, really hard, and he can do that. He can be rolling like 12 dice, which is a ridiculous amount in that game. He has a really cool thing, because the way Shatterpoint works is to determine what thing you're activating. You draw from the top of the deck. You have a deck with all of your characters in it, plus a Shatterpoint, which can be, you can activate anybody, and you just draw it from the top, and you say, okay, I'm doing this person, or if nobody's in reserve, I can spend a force to put it in reserve.
Right. And that takes part of like analysis paralysis out of the game.
You sometimes you have to think, do I want to put this thing in reserve? But a lot of times it's just, okay, let me just do this. Okay. And Vader is really cool, because if he doesn't wound anybody, which means like taking their health all the way down, you just shuffle him back in, because he's relentless. Like he's not going to stop hunting you. But he's really cool. Moff Gideon's really cool. He's got a lot of little like tricksy moves and stuff like that. His supporting and secondary character, the Death Trooper and the Dark Troopers, are really good. Like the Death Troopers have like their damage tree and everything that's on their other card is like really, really strong. They have protection, which means that they just, whatever the damage that they take 1 less. They're immune to being pinned, which pins blocks movement. They can't be pushed by abilities, so basically anything outside of attacking them can't push them off of objectives, which is a really big way of how you do things, because you're not always wounding somebody. You want to like push them off of the points so you can get on them.
Right.
And then the Death Troopers are really cool. Like they're just a really, really, that's just a really, really strong box, but it's fun. And that led me to, since Monday I was off because of Memorial Day weekend, I actually got to do a little bit of painting, and I was able to, the Stormtrooper Sergeant and the 2 Stormtroopers from the Darth Vader box, I was able to get painted up. It basically took me all fucking day to do it, but I had a really good time painting. These were fun because my least favorite part of painting is base coating, which is, putting down that base layer, and that's basically paint by numbers. Like you pick the area and you say, I'm going to paint it this color, and you paint it that color. And when it really comes to life is when you start, shading, and when you start highlighting. And that allowed me to, and because, a Stormtrooper is mostly white, that allowed me to, I just prime it white, and then I go over it with Soul Blight Gray, which is like a gray kind of wash. to get in all the shadows and recesses, and then I just dry brushed it back white. So like I was mostly done by then, and then I just had to pick out, okay, here's all the black parts and the knees and the shoulders and
The visor, yeah.
the visor and stuff like that. Here's now let's highlight that area and stuff like that. So that was that was kind of like it was pretty easy, to do everything. I spent more time like getting all the paints together. That's what took a lot of time sometimes, but like it was a really, really fun, and I'm glad that I did it. So now I got to start on the Darth Vader and then the Dark Trooper and the Death Trooper. Those are going to be actually pretty easy too, because I primed them black and they're mostly black models. So
I imagine the characters, like the hero and villain characters that have like the actual facial features, is probably a little bit more.
Yeah, that takes a little bit more. I've started. First of all, I try not to like a lot of my most of my armies in like AOS don't like have they don't have like human faces, so like I don't have to deal with that.
Right.
But and I did. It was the same thing with like War Machine. All the armies that I played, most of them didn't usually have human faces. But when it comes to like detailing the face, I'm just gonna do some like highlighting with a face is like easy, but like putting things like the eyes in there and making it actually look good is actually like super hard.
Right.
So I'm probably not even gonna like put eyes on them. I'm just gonna like darken the eye area and then put highlights like right above and right below, like on the nose, and you're good. Because really and truly, when you're thinking about it, like unless you're in a competition, 3-foot rule, like it has to look good from 3 feet away. And if you don't even have like their eyes filled in or anything like that, it's gonna look good 3 feet away,
Right.
because you're not gonna tell. You're just gonna see, okay, it's highlighted here, it's highlighted there. That's all. Your brain,
when you're standing over the table, the models are like
your brain's got to fill in the rest.
below you.
And of course, like I'm gonna try and put in some like with Darth Vader and Moff Gideon, I'm gonna put in some more effort. But I'm not. Gonna, but like when it comes to faces, like it's really easy when you're putting in like eyes and stuff like that. It's really easy to make a face look derpy.
Right.
And I've decided to just not
not
do that.
Yeah.
I watched a video on YouTube a while back. I can't remember what the guy's name is.
Maybe Goobertown Hobby.
No, this is one of the other guys. He's the older guy with the glasses.
Vince Venturella?
No.
Maniac?
No. Older guy with the glasses. He does like the every Sunday show.
Is that the guy at Tabletop Minions? Is that the one on this episode? I'm going to talk about what I feel about this
possibly but he goes by like Uncle something or something like that.
There's so many minis channels,
but he was the guy who brought that up, and I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. Like I'm just not going to like worry about painting in eyes and stuff like that, because I don't want to fuck it up, because it's really frustrating when you spend all this time on a model and then you get to his eyes and his eyes suck ass. Like he looks.
I painted in the Incredible Hulk for Crisis Protocol, and I used an acrylic pen for the eyes, and it worked perfectly. And it's the only time it's ever worked perfectly. And I'm like, I am never touching this model again. It's done. It's done, because like with eyes, you have to look on them forward, because you can't just paint an eye and then paint the other eye without looking where the other eye is looking, because then you run into things, either they're cockeyed completely and they're looking off in two totally different directions, or they're so looking in one direction, which might work if that character is like a designed to like hunt singly one person and to like to be like focused down on that makes sense for that model. But a lot of times you have this intense stare that can be off-putting if like someone's looking at it and go, oh, what the, and like, yeah. So
it is Tabletop Minions.
It is Tabletop Minions.
Uncle Adam.
Uncle Adam.
Yeah.
That's who it was.
I just found him.
Yeah. So yeah. I was really, really happy about that, because it's been a very long time. I've been very lazy with painting. I think if I had a place where I could just, because I have like a table for paint, like a movable table for painting, like a little cart. But it's a pain in the ass to get out and get back in. Right. If I had like a place that was just there to do painting, I think I might need to like move some stuff around and get that in an easier place to pull out. and it might
that
actually
was
be better.
that was the email from Squidmar's whole thing is like if you have a place already set up, it takes out that one block that you'll have. Like it's one of the reasons why I don't recommend weird tangent. It's why I don't recommend Marvel Legendary to anybody.
Right.
Because you have to break the cards out and then you have to set the game up and then you play the game and then you have to break the thing down and put it all back away.
Right.
Like when you have those kind of impediments in your way to enjoying the fun, there can be a
If I just had a
demonstrable,
place that I could set up to do everything, like it would, and that I didn't have to pull out every single time. I mean, to be honest, if because of my job, I just have like my table full. If I could just have an empty table where I could just sit stuff down,
Right.
that would also be all right. But I don't have that, so that's at least one of the excuses that I use.
Right.
Yeah. So I did that, and then because of things like playing Shatterpoint, and then also the new Star Wars show on Disney Plus, The Acolyte, coming out, I decided to finally okay, I'm gonna fucking do this. I'm gonna watch Andor. I'm about 7 episodes in of a 10-episode season. I was gonna try and get it done, but I just didn't. It didn't work out like that. Partially because I watched what's her name's video, 4-hour video about Jean Nicholson's 4-hour video about the downfall of the Galactic Star Cruiser hotel thing that Disney did.
Oh, I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah, it's really good. And it's 4 hours. Really funny that I saw that she had an old video where she broke down everything that she did and didn't like about the Star Wars land when it first came out. Was called an exhaustive of what happened, whatever. She used the word exhaustive video of it, and it's only 47 minutes, and I was like, oh man, you are nowhere near exhaustive with 47 minutes.
History would prove otherwise, Miss Nicholson. Yeah, by your own videos.
So that's why I didn't get all of that done, because I was watching that for most of the day
Definitely
while I was
worth
painting.
It, I'm sure
it's very, very good.
I love her stuff.
But yeah, I started watching Andor. It's a really good show, and it's mostly because it's just a show that is tangentially connected to some stuff. Like the character of Mon Mothma is there, but she's kind of doing her things. Right. It's kind of like, how did Cassian Andor get connected to the rebellion? I don't think we really needed that, but it's still a good show, because a lot of it's that I've watched so far is they're setting up for this big mission that they're doing, and this specific Splinter Cell kind of is a very ragtag team. They have a plan, but they're kind of flying by the seat of their pants as well, because there's just some things that they don't know, and he ends up getting mixed in with them because of Stellan Skarsgård's character, who kind of recruits him. That's really cool that he's in there, because he's a great actor, and he does a really good job, and he usually doesn't get to play a good guy, so that's great.
A good guy with some authoritative purpose. He was in Thor and the Avengers, but he's honestly especially in the Avengers, he's almost a throwaway character.
Yeah, he's a very side character.
Because I love Stellan Skarsgård
in all those movies. But yeah,
I like all the Skarsgårds. That's a very good acting family, right there.
Yeah. But yeah, Andor is great. I haven't gotten to the later episodes are supposed to be the best episodes, and I haven't gotten there, but we're pretty close. They do a really good job of showing how really shitty it is being under the Empire. Just the worst, just the absolute worst.
Well, in specific, the crushing bureaucracy of it. That, to me, that's the most evil part, because to me, that benign evil. Yeah, that's the evil that people engage in on a day-to-day basis. That is relatable, because that's what happens to you on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very good show so far. Like I said, I haven't even made it to the best parts of what I've heard of the show. So yeah, it is the best, one of the best Star Wars things that's come out in a while. So and it's not really, if you've watched the originals and you've watched Rogue One, that's kind of all you need to know in this. And really and truly, if you just know the basics of Star Wars, you could watch this show and be fine.
Right.
You wouldn't get when they introduced Mon Mothma, you might go, who the fuck is that? Why do I care about this person? But you don't get that's Mon Mothma. Oh, that's cool. Oh,
right.
That's great. and the lady who plays her is like really good.
Right.
There's a lot of like political intrigue with this too, because you get the mom, because in this she's a senator still.
Right.
I think from Chandrilla, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
There was some of that in Ahsoka. There was some political stuff going on.
There was some of that in Revenge of the Sith, but it was cut. And basically, it's a scene where Padme is like right after "This is how democracy dies" and thundering applause. It's her and the same actress who's playing Mon Mothma. Like she's actually grown into the role, which blows my mind. But her and Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa, and they start talking about, well, I have these resources, and we can, and so it's literally the very initial seeds of the rebellion forming right there, and the notion that Padme was a part of it at the very beginning, which then it's like, okay, then of course her children would then be a part of it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good show so far. I really wish I could have watched all of it so I could have given you a full review. But like it's worth watching if you like political intrigue, you like spy or like kind of stuff like that. It's really good. It's really, really good. And it's good, and I think it's good because it's not like super tied to like
the
all
Skywalker
like
legacy,
the Skywalker stuff
as a
stuff.
focus
like,
anyway.
It's what like they need to be doing with Star Wars.
Right.
It's just like
letting we need expanded stuff.
Let us tell stories of these trillions of characters that we have and just do that. Yeah.
Did some of the scenes for you look like you could have visually, not the dialogue or the story beats, but visually, because I kept rolling this in my head. Do you think you could have taken some of those scenes out, put them in Prometheus, and you would not have missed a beat? Because there's stuff in there that looks like this kind of like, this is what the 70s thought the future was going to look like. And it happens like in Prometheus, and I felt like they did that in Andor as well.
Retrofuturism.
Like, yeah, well, specifically the 70s ideal of what the future would look like.
Right. That's retrofuturism, yeah.
With like the look, I think that's
like,
fair.
Like not 30s, not 50s, specifically just the 70s.
Right. No, I get what you're
70s
saying.
Look to it. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought about the way, like how some of the colors were muted, the way they were kind of muted in Prometheus, kind of struck out to me.
Yeah.
The use of blues, particularly in the God, like everyone's like Dolores Umbridge is like considered like the worst human being in all of Harry Potterdom as far as the story goes.
Yeah.
Similarly with like all the people who are working like as fucking mid-level bureaucrats, it's like Darth Vader's cool, but kill these motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, that one dude who's just like who was like, hey, I want to rise in the ranks, so I'm gonna do something about this, and it becomes a giant shit show.
Yeah.
Even when his boss was like, don't worry about this. Like, what does it fucking matter? Like, it in the end, like, it doesn't matter. Like, just let this go. And the guy couldn't, and he ends up like being even more of a bureaucrat.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like top 5 villains of all time. Gary Cole's character from Office Space. I can never remember the name of him because Gary Cole, the actor, I have huge respect for him. But just
that's
I'm gonna have to need you to come in on Saturday
and Sunday too. Yeah.
But they have a cool little droid that is not just this is a second R2D2 or a second C3PO. That's good. He's like super. That little droid, I don't remember his fucking name, but like he's cool because like he's also like super old, so he's like constantly like malfunctioning and running low of power and worried about running low of power and not being near where he can charge up, which is kind of cute.
Bill Lumberg.
Bill. Yeah, Lumberg.
Yep,
okay,
yep,
yeah.
yep.
As soon as you said that, I was like,
at the very beginning, like he comes into the house where Cassian, where Cassian's like got some stash or something. And he was like, so I have to lie to them, and he's like, yeah, just tell him this and tell him this, and he's like, oh, that's 2 lies. I was like, oh, You sweet little thing.
That's like a Red Letter Media bit, you know? It's like-
Right.
You poor thing. He was like, just say one thing, and he was like, well, that's two things. And I'm like, oh, you poor sweet little thing.
it's very Eeyore from
Yeah.
from Winnie the
Nice.
Pooh.
But yeah, it's
Okay.
good. Check it out. It's one of the best Star Wars like TV shows like on screen products that's happened in a while, and it's because they just let somebody fucking do their own thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully that same thing happens with Acolytes.
Right.
And hopefully they just keep fucking doing that, because that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
That's when shit is interesting. When you
I agree 100%.
But so yeah. I didn't mean for my section to be very long, but it ended up
it's fine.
Well, you had stuff that you were very passionate about,
Yeah.
and we just finished a Star Wars month.
When we started, I didn't have much to do.
We just finished a Star
That
Wars
is also
month where
part
we
of it,
kind
too.
of dipped
Yeah.
into like the negativity of Star Wars, and you had that was like I would think like 98% positive. So
Oh, yeah.
that's
Now,
great. We like this.
To bring it back down into negative, like the rest of the Star Wars shows, like I have no interest in watching whatsoever. Like
I still say you need to watch Ahsoka.
I'm not. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not gonna get around to it. I only have so much time, and I want to watch good things, and I don't want to slog through stuff that I probably am not.
I don't have
gonna
enough
do.
time
watch
in my
the
life.
Clone Wars, and I would.
Oof.
Jesus, are you good?
What the fuck?
He just punched the table.
I punched the table.
Yeah.
Why? Brady was the one giving you shit, not the table.
I am the table.
No, well, you didn't break the table.
I
so
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that works.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's how that
That's
works.
how it works. Yeah.
Brady, I will watch the Clone Wars and give you a review, so that way you don't have to watch it.
Sure. So that's me.
and
That's
then
me.
it got real fucking quiet.
That's me.
I will help you, Brady. Fuck you. That was the one that happened there.
I went down a YouTube rabbit wormhole like we all like doing
Yeah.
sometimes.
Like everyone does occasionally.
And I was just looking up videos on toy stores in Japan to see
Everything about this I love right now.
because I wanted to see like what their setup and displays were, and like what they had available.
Like for like merchandising, tourism.
Well, originally it was just for Gundam models, and then I watched like 2-3 hours of toy vlog videos from
Jesus.
Japan from people that live over there that also speak both are bilingual. So the YouTube channel I watched, one of them was called Scale Model Experiment, and they did a vlog of one of the toy stores or hobby shops, I should say, in Akibara, and this was called Yodobashi Camera.
Okay.
And even though it's got camera in the title, because it's an older store, there weren't many cameras in there. It was mostly like models.
They lied to you.
Yeah. And so, some of these like nerd, 5-story nerd stores in Japan will have like one floor is Zelda and one floor is Mario. And this place, one floor was like just model glue, scalpels, like
Damn.
all the shit that you need
All the
for
works.
modeling. And then the next floor was like fucking Gundam models, and it was just wall to wall Gundam models. They're all,
Damn.
they had them all. Some the stores, like the square footage of these like 5-story buildings are like not like Walmart size. They're probably about the size of a normal store. But like a GameStop, maybe a little bit bigger than that or something like that. Probably about 2 or 3 times bigger than the GameStop for each floor. But I was watching it. I was like, Jesus, man. These fucking places are crazy. Because they had like the floor of the models for the Gundam models. And I'm like, what else do they have? I'll tell you what they have, Ethan. $300 fourth of a scale car models.
Damn.
Like the box is like this fucking big, like 2 foot wide.
Damn.
Jesus.
And they're like $500 for like a Toyota whatever, right? And
I need that as a model. I need no.
Toyota, whatever.
I need it's like we got a blue Toyota whatever going down the street.
just aisles of fucking battleships from both sides of the war. Oh, well, I guess all 3 sides. But both sides of the war.
You mean Earth, Xeon, and Char?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So yeah, so that was a trip. Like, you should definitely check that shit out. There's also one called Tam Tam, I think it's what it's called. But there's like 5 or 6 like just sell like Gundam models plus, and some stores just sell Gundam models.
The only thing that's going through my mind right now is if you get like if you get the Toyota whatever, and you just put like a you know how kids they'll have like the toy Jeeps that they'll just like drive around in. It's like
They have those.
Yeah,
Power Wheels. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah,
of?
yeah. You just get one of those model cars. You just put a battery in there and then just let a kid go to town in it.
Lawnmower battery. Just let them have fun.
A Power Wheels is probably cheaper.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
The words you were saying, I thought the only thing going through my mind right now is phlegm. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. My apologies, but yeah.
As I was watching
Toyota, whatever.
Yeah.
I want it.
As I was watching some of these, they would like show the box of one of these like Gundam models up close, and I'd see the price on there, and I was like doing USD like conversion
to yen
to see. I was like, oh, that one Gundam model is like $600 because it was like the big, really articulate one. I was like, man, that's fucking crazy.
I used to put together Gundam models. Because for a while there they sold like the ones from Gundam Wing in Walmart.
Yeah.
I could just put them together. Like I didn't like all the shit that I do with models now. Like I did not do. Like they were push fit, so I never glued them together.
Sure.
I just used the stickers that came with them. I never like painted them. Never even like got like the little sprue parts all, like I never like shaved the little
hard on it or anything.
Like it was just I twisted them off, I slapped them together and was like, oh, this is cool.
Right.
And then every once in a while I'd get some from like I'd find something like dirt cheap or some shit.
They have them at the Game Exchange in D'Iberville.
They have them literally everywhere. Like
they have a lot of them there though.
Like every fucking where.
A friend of mine, every time me and Bianca goes to visit one of her friends, he's always telling me, like showing me like 5 new Gundams that he's put together within the last month.
The bigger ones are really cool because from the videos I watched, because you can once you get them put together, they have articulation, so you can kind of like pose them and shit like that. You know, and some of them have like stands, like the flying ones had like the plastic, like see-through stands that you can have them looking like they're like in space fighting and shit like that. And so I did that. I also watched 12 episodes of season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen. That's an anime I had started and then I had stopped, and then the second season started. So I started over because I think I only watched like 5 or 6 episodes the first time I watched it, and I just got sidetracked like you do with TV shows. And man, that shit is pretty fucking wild.
Of the like
shonen.
Like the
shonen anime. Yeah,
I think Jujutsu is probably one of my favorites.
I think out of the shonen animes, because Slime isn't really a shonen anime. Slime is just a well balanced anime that has like all kinds of different tropes in it and appeals to a wide audience of different categories. But Jujutsu Kaisen still has a very like a sliver of comedy in it at times to downplay the serious nature of what's going on, because people fucking die in this show.
Dude, it's insane.
And I really like the character designs. I like the artwork. I like the animation. I like how the animation changes to manga style, which is when like things get really fucked up. They go into fully cooling mode where there's just black and white with the coloration only on like a special ability. At the first time that happened, I was like, that was like really cool. I like the plot. I think it's really interesting that like, this guy swallows the fingers of this one demon and becomes more powerful, while that demon also, while inside of him is becoming
like
more, is also starting to control him more. So it's really cool. I like it way better than Demon Slayer. I think Demon Slayer is overrated.
Bianca loves Demon Slayer. I could not get into Demon Slayer.
I can see the appeal of it, and I think that
absolutely.
I think Demon Slayer, after watching the first season of it, I haven't gone back to watch any more of it. Even though it's got like adult themes, there's mature stuff and there's a little bit of machismo. It is in the 80s it wouldn't be considered this, but it's more of a like the girl term. Shonen is the boy term, right? Shonen is the fighting anime. There's the one for the romance for the other side. I can't remember the name of it.
In my head I was thinking magical girl, but it's not that.
It's not. No. There's shonen and then there's shogo or something. I think it's shogo. It might be. But like, you know, one
Maybe you're thinking of yaoi.
No.
Are you thinking particularly the subsect yaoi Nazi?
No. Okay, then.
Yeah, it's Shogo.
I thought you were about to say it was yaoi Nazi. I was like, Jesus Christ.
So anyway, so I'm enjoying that so far. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, my tolerance for like shonen anime is like pretty much at 0. Like I'm just begrudgingly watching like Bleach: The 1,000-Year Blood War. Because it's actually like it's moving along at a decent clip. It just takes for fucking ever.
The subtitle caught me on that one. The 1,000-Year Blood War. It's like,
but I've heard some. The thing like it does sound interesting because I've watched some like things about it. I think they put one of the main guys in a death battle, and he's pretty absolutely like. What's interesting is like one of the most interesting thing that I've seen is like one of the main guys is like already ridiculously like unstoppably powerful,
right?
Yeah.
And they do, and that's an interesting thing because usually in shonen it's all about like
it's the build up to
the build up, and you got one guy who's just like, oh, I'm gonna beat you, like fuck you, like
I think some of the build up is like you're super overly powerful, but you can't control it. Is at least the main protagonist, and also like I'm also. Like my tolerance for shonen anime, like newer shonen animes, is super low, which is why I have to have something. Dr. Stone is not a shonen anime. Slime is not a shonen anime. And the only one I watch that's a shonen anime is My Hero, and that's only because I like a lot of the side characters more than the main protagonist. There's so many characters that it makes up for it. It's not like Dragon Ball Z, where like Goku was the it character, and all the other characters were like passable until they did the whole like Trunks and Gotenks and all that. But I got over Dragon Ball Z too. I'm not a shonen fan, but I do like Jujutsu Kaisen.
They started releasing new episodes of the final season for My Hero.
Oh,
have you seen any?
The
of it?
final season?
Yeah, it's. They're saying that this upcoming season is the final season.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it and apparently they've wrapped up the entire manga.
Oh, that's good. I'm sure they will start My Villain or something, but they can have spinoffs. But it's good to hear that they are going to finish it.
My Villain Junior College. It'd be fucking great.
Yeah.
But everything I've seen, I think it's like 3 episodes released so far. It looks really good.
Well, so I've been keeping up with it until like I'm one season behind on My Hero, only because again I found some of the characters very interesting, especially All Might. That was a really cool character. But yes, it's good to hear that it's getting, because what they did in season 4, the beginning or end, I think it was the end of season 4 or season 5, the quote unquote main villain that's always Shigaraki. He's the guy. If you've ever seen the character, the character design where he's got the hands on his face and his arms and legs. Yeah, they explain. That's not just like a goofy like, hey, this makes me look threatening or whatever.
This conceals my identity.
Oh my god,
no,
that was because. Most of the time, that show is kind of like goofy, quirky. The bad guys or whatever, they're kind of jokey or whatever. And then they revealed that guy's backstory. And since you're not going to watch it, Brady, I'm going to go ahead and spoil that for you.
Probably not.
Jay's not going to watch it.
Spoiler warning to anyone who would be watching this.
Yeah. At the end of that season, they reveal like when he acquires his powers at like 6 or something. Like he gets his power, and his power is whenever he grabs you or touches you, it literally disintegrates your body.
Yeah,
it decays.
Right.
Any living thing.
Well, he found out that by accident when he acquired his power because he grabbed his mother and her arm and her whole body just disintegrates. And he's like he's weeping at the same time. He's just killing everybody around him, and these hands are representations of the family that died.
Yeah.
And at first you think that you feel sympathy for him because it looked like it was like, you know, like really fucking him up until he was like really happy about it, you know, that he's, and they're like, Jesus, that's what kind of turned me. I was like, oh man, this guy's got a whole character arc and he's not one layer, you know.
One of the main characters, father, is after All Might like loses his powers, Endeavor becomes the new #1 hero.
Right.
And I really like his like redemption arc story.
Sure.
Bianca hates him. But I very much like Endeavor.
Right. Like I said, I'm a season behind, so I don't think I saw that, but it's fine. One more thing before we go to our, you know, normal routine here. So new season of Fortnite just hit, and you know, I like the game. Okay, you know, I like it. You know, it's a good game from my personal experience, but man, they just added twisted metal elements to it with also Mad Max type characters.
Yeah, because Furiosa is
Furiosa.
There's like cars with like spikes and guns, and they're like NPCs in different parts of the game. One in one location, and two that are on like moving locations, which is like they have like an array of like vehicles that they're in. So sometimes, you know, they'll happen upon you or you happen upon them. But there's only 2 instances of that. So, you know, it's not something that you have to deal with if you don't want to. But it is really fucking fun. I really, really enjoyed it, and I've been having a great time with it. So, already got a victory royale under my belt.
There you go.
Nice.
With a car. Blew him up with a cannon. They didn't see that shit coming.
Well, it was like 80 miles an hour.
All right, so do we have any feedback?
No feedback this week, but however, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being passengers on the bus this week. If you'd like to leave feedback, travelers@gmail.com. Again, that is travelers, 1L on the omnibus @gmail.com. Jody, where else may they engage with us?
You can reach us directly by messaging us on Spotify and take place in any polls that we may have.
Yes, our polls for last week was our last week of Star Wars month, where we were talking about referential and or parodies of Star Wars. And what was your favorite parody? Was it Spaceballs? Was it Hardware Wars? That's in the poll there. And then just in the question, if you wanted to go a little further than that, that's what our Q&A was about. But yeah, that was last week. And also, as again, we thank you for joining us on the bus this week. If you're enjoying what you're hearing and you'd like to spread that out to other people, but you don't listen to podcasts on the same channels that other people listen to, we're available on Spotify, Apple, YouTube Music, and Amazon.
Well, with that said, let's get ready to rumble. So we typically don't talk very much about sports games on this podcast because
we typically don't talk about sports.
That's also true.
We are not sports people.
We are not sports guys. Although I think Jay follows a little bit of football, don't you, Jay? Like college?
I follow all of it: football, basketball, hockey.
Yeah.
This is a very fun time for me with the NBA finals and with the NHL finals coming up.
Right.
I'm not a big basketball fan, but when I come into work, I watch like the last 15 minutes of whatever game's on, and it's very entertaining. It's kind of like rekindled my joy for sports like baseball, football. I've been getting the algorithm on TikTok is showing me a lot of baseball recently. So
I used to be into more of the like quote unquote at the time alternative sports. Like I liked soccer and hockey and things like that, and got into it for a little bit, especially when in the 80s when they like really like boosted like the top stars. Like you had like Wayne Gretzky, you know, like all those named, you know, like Beckham and soccer and things like that.
Yeah.
And so the reason why we're talking about sports, we're going to be talking about arcade sports games. Sports games over the past probably about getting close to 10, 15 years, have been pushing more towards, simulating the actual games.
Like MLB The Show, NFL
Madden started
FIFA,
it.
NBA 2K.
Yeah.
I think Madden probably around, I want to say the PS3 360 era is when it really started becoming.
It was, I think the push really started to happen when, because I hate saying this, but like back in the day, a very long time ago, when like I was in like high school and everything, you would get multiple like baseball games, you would get multiple football games, you would get something, you would get Madden, but then you'd also get you get it NFL 2K whatever
Before EA,
but then EA decided that they were going to get the rights to NFL games, the sole rights, so they were the only ones who got to make an NFL game that year. Then they would also get the NCAA rights, so they would be the only ones who would make an NCAA game that year. So,
and in particular, the year prior, ESPN had an NFL football game, and one of the things about it is I think it clocked in at either $20 or $30, and it was a very good simulation. The issue there for the NFL is they have another product with their name on it that is stamped at a much higher price.
Yeah.
And it's one of those areas where you charge lower, you're devaluing it by charging lower.
Yeah.
So when they saw that, I think that's like, give us some extra money to make this exclusive and we'll just do it this way.
I think it was also EA backing a truckload of money and saying, "Hey, give us sole rights," and then basically from then on, like, only one company could ever make an NFL or an NBA or an MLB game. Like these major leagues, like they only would have one game come out.
Yeah, the last time I remember playing like a sports game that was like in the middle of like a simulation in an arcade was probably on the original Xbox / PS2, and that was the Winning 11 series. I think it was a Winning 11-7. Which is the 7th game in that series.
I can't remember if that was the Konami series of soccer games or if that was the Sega series of soccer games.
I believe it was Konami, but I could be wrong. You could look it up. But in the beginning of consoles, you have the Odyssey. They didn't really have anything, but Atari 2600. There was a slew of arcade style sports games. They're very, very primitive, of course.
Yeah, you could argue that most games, even if they were really trying to be a simulation, weren't really a simulation,
right?
Just because of the hardware, and it didn't get until really like probably PlayStation 1 era where it started getting like
closer to
that era of consoles where it started to move more towards like we would have these more simulation things,
right? Because the Atari 2600 boxing specifically is just like two dudes with arms, like that's all you've got. You don't have anything else really. And I remember the old the NES Black Cart box art. Sports games like football, they were just called football, baseball, golf.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, in Nintendo specifically, they had 10-Yard Fight, which was actually developed by IREM and was developed for the arcade. And then when they brought it's as close as a faithful reinterpretation of an arcade game that you can have on the Nintendo or the NES at that time. It kind of fascinated me because I always thought those black box games were all Nintendo specific productions. But no, that one in particular was by IREM.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I remember like my brother, I was never a big sports fan. I can watch a lot of sports and be okay with it. I don't like despise watching it or get mad. It's just I don't seek it out anymore.
Right.
There was a point in time like 15 years ago where I was super big into MMA, and I still like to watch it every once in a while, but I'm just not like I don't follow it anymore.
The same goes for me too. Like I was big into it, but
that's about the only thing that I've really super been into where I followed for that's the only sport where I ever did that. But like basketball and everything, like I understand what's going on. I can follow a game and I can get excited about it. I just don't do it. My brother, however, like he was a sports guy. Like he played sports he played baseball in high school. He played sports some in college, and he was like sports like big time. So he was the one who always had like the sports games. I remember he had like a baseball. He either rented or had a game for the NES, and it was just like. It was very, very basic. Like it was supposed to be like a simulation, but even then, like it was like not like super because of the technology. It just wasn't like super.
Well, even like just a short period after those black box games come out, like they had like RBI baseball, and
it was probably something like that. I can't exactly remember.
There was quite a few of those, and they were actually pretty decent games. They're pretty fun to play, even if you weren't into sports. They were I really enjoyed playing the Tecmo Bowl and Super Tecmo Bowl.
Oh yeah, those are classics.
Those Tecmo Bowl actually, I think, was one of the first instances of you being able to pick from multiple plays.
You had a playbook of 4 plays.
And those were good. And then you had. I mean, do you count pro wrestling? I guess the game itself.
Well, I would, because eventually that becomes Fire Pro Wrestling, which is one of the longest running.
Because that's Aki, right?
Yeah, which is one of the longest running video game series of all time.
And that is, and you could also separate that because most of like the WWE games nowadays are simulation style games.
Yeah,
and then they even like right after they had the mess that was what was it WWE
I think it was 2K20.
It was 20.
It was 20 that was the garbage one. They also had that other like more arcade style. It was like the Superstars of Wrestling or some shit like that.
Yeah. There was Legends,
and that was
of
more Legends of Wrestling. That's what it was, and that was the more like arcadey style, and that one also sucked. But
a little off topic, just because I saw
All Stars.
Yeah.
I saw something. I have no idea if there's any truth in this, but apparently the AEW Fight Forever game is supposed to be the price is going to be free on a lot of platforms that is coming out, that's available on.
I'm not surprised. I owned that game for
that game's a dead albatross.
I owned that game
that has pulled so much like
for 2
good
days.
resources from them.
We were talking about like the recent WWE games. It was just on my brain.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that game is a turd.
But
it's probably more of an arcadey style, right?
It is 100% just smashing buttons.
Well, it feels more like No Mercy.
Yeah.
Like, except that they tried to update it for a modern era and add all these things in, and then the game is just jank.
Yeah, it did not work.
They have like a season pass aspect to the game or something.
Yeah,
like
there's a lot of like DLC where it's like, hey, you want this wrestler who's actually wrestling now? You got to get it in DLC.
And
my issue with that is that's all fighting games now.
I mean,
Another issue with modern sports games is they started introducing loot boxes and gambling.
Like
different
FIFA
stuff.
has been rife with that.
Yeah,
FIFA the game.
Ultimate Team is like one of the worst things that's ever happened.
FIFA the game is as corrupt as FIFA the organization. Look that up and have a fun time. They made a movie that was made by FIFA about how corrupt they weren't, and let's just say that was a lie.
They made a sports movie about the sports executives.
Yeah.
The interesting part about sports.
Yeah, everybody's favorite part of sports. But
going back to these like the arcade style sports games, it's very a lot of the like NBA Jam.
Played a lot of that.
Oh yeah, NBA Jam. I would play so
like
much. Didn't understand what the hell I was doing, and I think most of the time I was following around the computer player because I was so young and stupid.
One of my favorite moments among the friend group. We were over at Sims's house, and I think Brady and Sims are playing NBA Jam. Brady's up by 6. And Sims is like, fuck it. And so he just starts shooting from half court, and he just starts hitting, and he starts hitting an abnormal amount of shots. And it's just like, everyone's like, what the fuck is going on? And that game became crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. That's that arcade, that's an arcade energy, arcade action, arcade style, where rubber banding, I think, is a little bit in there, but it's just stuff, it's like, you will not pull this stuff off in an actual game of basketball. But in the video game world, anything is possible. As Kevin Garnett said one time when the Celtics won the championship, anything
possible. Yeah, I don't think it's possible in current NBA games. I don't know if you could like shoot from the
Steph Curry.
uh-huh.
He shoots from like half court and like he hits an abnormal number of shots from there.
Yeah.
Like it became so like there's an era of NBA 2K. I want to say it's like mid 2010s where everyone was just picking the Warriors because you would just get Steph Curry in the corner by the half court line, shoot it and hit it because that was his range.
Yeah. They would usually also do like be very realistic because like back in the day when like Steve Nash was in the game, you could get a fast break with Steve Nash in one of those simulation games and press the button to where you want him to like dunk the ball and he wouldn't. He would lay it up like because Steve Nash doesn't dunk. Probably can't dunk. Like so
That's
like
hilarious.
it would not let you.
2-time back-to-back MVP.
Yeah.
Steve Nash never won the title, which was sad. Like it's one of the ones that I really wish had won the title.
Did you ever get to play NFL Blitz?
Yes. Well, I didn't play it because I wasn't as interested in like football, but I remember like going to a friend's birthday party and he got blitz and us watching it and seeing a dude get power bombed after a play, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever."
That's what I won in my football games.
Yeah, those arcadey style where you were still pretty much playing like football, but
For
like
the most part.
when things broke down, you would like somebody would get drop kicked. Like that's
I just want a wide receiver just like right hook someone.
I mean,
as
that's
he's
basically
running.
what would
NFL
happen.
Blitz?
They ended up later. I want to say it was like the PlayStation 2. They redid they did like a newer version of Blitz, but it didn't have.
It's called Blitz the League.
Blitz the League, where they didn't have any. It wasn't connected to the NFL because the NFL didn't want anything to do with this. Now, you did all that shit, but you could also like have your guys take steroids and shit like that. Like they turned into it.
No, there was a story mode, and it had like go out partying, do something, do a substance.
Yeah.
Go
Do
to the
a substance.
go to the game. It gives you power. Wait, what?
Yeah.
To be fair, the spokesman for the game was Lawrence Taylor, which if there was a man who was a video game character in real life as far as the sports go, it's Lawrence Taylor, because he would just like, oh, there's 3 people blocking me. Let me power them all off and then I'll eat the quarterback. He would do that.
I think, like, as far as modern, and what I mean modern, I mean the past 15 years, one of the best modern sports games that was an arcade-style game was, like, Wii Sports.
Yeah, that was the one that like really.
I played the shit out of it.
I did
everybody
too.
played so much Wii Sports.
That's one of the
highest selling
outside
Wii,
of the
Wii
original
game.
Super Mario Brothers. That's the greatest pack-in title of all time.
Really good back-end title, for sure.
Because it explains to you what the limitations and accessibility of the system is, what you're going to be doing, and you can be 444 or 444, and you can pick that up and do
That
do stuff with
game, much like Tetris for the Game Boy, sold systems.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's like we're selling a lot of systems. We're not selling a lot of games.
yeah.
and then it just increased with like Wii Sports Resorts, where it added like more alternative sports,
Right,
like,
more,
like
yeah.
frisbee, disc
Curling.
disc golf.
Yeah, fencing, stuff like that.
Yeah, that reminds me of some arcadey like Olympic games they used to have, especially on the Nintendo. There was like winter sports,
Yeah, I remember those.
and track and field.
Yeah, they also for a while, like if it was a Nintendo console, like every year there was an Olympics. There was like Mario versus Sonic in the Olympics.
Mhm. Yeah,
And then
later
Mario
on
and
they
Sonic
started
in the
doing
Winter
that.
Olympics.
Yeah.
which was developed by Sega, which that always weirds me out when Mario is appearing in a Sega game.
Yeah, yeah.
That was after Sega stopped. Making consoles.
Yeah, that was way after that.
Yeah.
I know this game is considered like a remaster, but like I played the Wii version of Punch Out,
Oh yeah.
and so
right.
I very much enjoyed.
Oh
that.
yeah, the Punch Out games are
I
some of
played
the best.
the hell out of Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Never beat Mike Tyson.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't. Yeah, those are great games for being. There was also speaking of another boxing game, there was Ready to Rumble, and Ready to Rumble Round 2, I think. I never actually got to play. I always wanted to play these games. I had friends who had them, but I never got to actually play those. But those, like, Michael Jackson was an unblockable character.
Of course, yeah.
And one of his boxing
What is this?
one of his boxing gloves had rhinestones on it.
Yep. This is truly PS1 graphics at its finest.
Yeah, it was basically I think this is a good lead up. It was basically, and I think it was might have been made by the same people. It was basically like the street version of a boxing game, like a big, which is where like I think which was kind of the heyday of these kinds of games was when all the street
versions of the games
so
came
you
out.
had like it started out with like NBA Street, and then they eventually got like NFL Street.
Yeah,
I never got to play the first in NBA Street, but I played the absolute hell out of the second one.
Right.
That game was so fun because it's just. And with most of these arcades, it's like simplified. Like you're not playing, if you're playing basketball, you're not playing five. You're not playing like 5-on-5. You're playing like 3-on-3. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see the Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Ethan just discovered the Michael Jackson extra character in Ready to Rumble. But yeah, I played the absolute shit, and you could play as like real players, but then you also had like the made up characters. You could do like really cool alley oops and shit like that. You could do like a triple alley oop if you wanted to. It was really fun. That one, the Street NFL NBA Street 2 like had a great soundtrack. Like the soundtrack of it was like so fucking good. But yeah, I played the absolute hell out of the second one. I also had the And One basketball game. Which so
how many ankles did you break?
There were so many broken ankles. You could break people's ankles all over the place.
That was like 50 Adam Copelands.
Yeah. He broke his tibia. So
okay, that's a little further up from the ankle.
But yeah, that one, because back in the day, some younger people might not remember this, but they're like the big thing was that there would be these videos of that And One would make where they would get these like street ball people who were just like really good at like dribbling and doing like all kinds of fancy shit that wouldn't actually work in a real game, but it was really cool. Like you had and they all had weird names. Like one of the only guy that I remember out of that was his name was Hot Sauce, and that was his nickname. But yeah. That was that one was not as polished as the NBA Street. It was probably if I go back to it, it's probably a bad game, but it was fun because you got to do stupid stuff like break people's ankles.
Well, there's
and all
also
kinds
if you want to talk about the street games, it's like unofficial street game, but it's the Def Jam fighting game.
Oh yeah,
that's
Def Jam 2 Fight for New York.
No, that's. There's one before that.
There's Def Jam,
and
Vendetta,
it was way more arcadey.
Def Jam Vendetta, and then Def Jam Fight for New York, and then Def Jam Icon, which really changed up things because you were like fighting to music and like things would happen to music.
Those games are actually really expensive on the retro market.
Yeah, because like Def Jam 2 Fight for New York is legitimately a really good game.
It's legitimately a good game, and it's something they can't re-release because of licensing.
Yeah, I played that one and I really enjoyed it. It was just annoying because of the way the save system worked. Whenever you would like go into like the story mode, you had to upload your save, play through a part, and then save it. If you didn't like upload it, it just like it did a weird thing where it just like overwrote, and like all the people that you unlock, it would just be the last few people, the last like 2 people that you unlock.
Right.
So I was just like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
But that was a really good game. That's more on like the fighting game side. But there was also like, did they have? Because I know they had NFL Street. I don't think that there
was an NBA Street.
Yeah, I know that there was. I
think there was
Street.
a soccer one too.
I think that there was a soccer.
Yeah.
There was
a 3-on-3 soccer game.
That was. I never played that one. I played NFL Street.
Yeah, I played that.
We talked about NBA Jam. I want to bring up just very quickly Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey, which was NBA Jam for the hockey.
Yeah,
like if you could line up the shot and you had like turbo with it, you could like knock the goalie into the goal and light it on fire. It's like
oh my god.
Oh yeah, there's nothing like that first time in NBA Jam when your ball's on fire and you're like, what is going on? And then you shoot it and it burns up the net and you're like, oh my god, holy shit.
Yeah, speaking of hockey, you can talk about hockey games for a minute, like Blades of Steel for the original Nintendo.
Yeah, that was a Konami game.
That's a great arcadey hockey game. Also, there was God, what was the other one I was thinking of? Oh, every year for a minute on the Genesis they had NHL like 95, 96.
Yeah, I remember my brother playing some of those NHL games.
Those were really fun.
Yeah, those were ones where I was just like, this does not look fun to me. Like I was.
Well, those slowly like as technology kind of got more and more and people wanted a more authentic experience, those started becoming more authentic like simulation games.
Right.
But like Madden is the obvious one there, which is weird because Madden has an arcade mode, which weird shit happens in there. I'm just going to leave it at that. But yeah, like as I think there was always a drive to recreate what was on the field on a TV screen with a controller in your hands. I think that's always something that was been a pull. Like we mentioned Atari back there, but Nintendo, like strangely enough for me, one of the most simulation games from that era is Nintendo Golf. And then what Nintendo did was they took that and they put it in the Mario franchise, and then they pulled away a lot of the simulation stuff. You can still play a legitimate, like almost simulation style golf game inside of like the Mario Golf series.
Right.
Yeah.
But the extra doodad, my favorite is speed golf. I want to try this one day where like 4 people are each trying to finish the hole in as few strokes and as fast as possible. So everybody hits their ball at the same time, and then they're all running to like get to their next shot so they can. I love the notion of that. And that's stuff that you can do in a video game in an arcade setting that you can't do in a simulation setting,
Right.
Because no one would let you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have Arch Rivals too.
Arch
That was
Rivals.
also really good.
Yeah, well, there's the whole line of like you mentioned the Super Mario. Like, there's a whole line of Mario
Mario
Tennis, a Mario Baseball,
Strikers.
Mario Strikers for soccer.
Super Mario Sluggers, I absolutely love.
They need to either do a remake or another one in that because I've been dying to play that forever.
There's-
And my GameCube just languishes in dust.
There's a game series that was primarily only in never localized called Captain Tsubasa. And originally it was a manga, and I think they had a couple of animes, like one in the 80s and then one recently. And I've actually got Captain Tsubasa on the Switch, the last game that they actually localized that one. And apparently there's like 15 or so of these, all the way from the original or original Famicom, I should say. And they're very much like super arcadey. They never try to make it a simulation game. The Nintendo Switch game, while you're because like all the soccer players that are like the named characters from the universe of Captain Tsubasa, they have like these like aspects like you have like personas. Basically, where like this one guy's like he's going to do a kick and it's getting blocked and you have a meter, and if your special meter like gets high enough, all of a sudden you see like a shadow come from behind him and it's giant Phoenix on fire, and he kicks the ball and the ball goes on fire and goes right through the guy blocking it and automatically gets the goal for you.
Damn, that's
cool.
There's a guy that channels a dragon and it just smacks the shit out of his
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool stuff. I'm glad that there's still arcade sports games that are being made because
it's just not like they're usually like an indie type game. Like
normally
that, like
they
a lesser
are.
known game.
Yeah, like the one that used to be in the arcade and then they remastered it. One of my favorite games, Jay likes it too, Windjammers is
Well, like, here again, like that's something that you can do in the video game space that you can't do in real life. Not just because just the powers of it.
right.
To me, it would be a niche. It would be an absolutely niche thing to like be able to set up 2 soccer goals along with maybe posts in the middle between the two to play this kind of weird tennis soccer almost shot put variant, like where because if it lands on the ground, you end up getting points anyway. So you like, yeah, Windjammers is fun and fascinating. There was a spiritual redoing of it called Disc Jam, that appeared on Steam, which is actually also pretty good. The score for the game, every time a successful you have a catch and throw, it adds another point that can be scored in that round, and just keeps going back and forth. It starts at 5 points, but if you get an ace, it doubles to 10, and then after that, it just whoever can end up scoring. And usually, it's played 2-on-2,
right?
Which I think is also very fascinating.
There was like Super Spike V-Ball. There was a couple of volleyball games on the original Nintendo that were really fun. That's a sport that doesn't have a handful of really good games. One of them's unfortunately attached to bikinis, but the gameplay is actually really good. But unfortunately, jiggle physics get in the way of being able to
there's
focus.
no way you can you could purchase that game and go up to the counter and be like, no, this is actually a really good game.
It's quality volleyball game.
I am buying it for the volleyball because it is an interesting like mechanic wise. It's like sure guy, yeah. Me too, wink.
I can't remember if it was DOA Volleyball 1 or 2, but Zach is voiced by Dennis Rodman, which is funny as fuck to me.
Yeah, that has to be
that's crazy.
Something else.
Yeah.
You talking about golf games made me think of somehow. So like, whenever I would get a game for the computer, I don't remember where I would even get these weird ass games, but it was always something like off the wall and esoteric. Like somehow I got this game. I think it's called Renegade Golf, where it was like it was a golf game, but it was, you were playing golf as, you had the little meter and all this shit. And it played a lot like a golf, but you'd play like on like, the golf course is like spooky and everything. There's like ghosts and shit around, and you could get like, it was not a great game. But I played it cause it was the game that I had. But then like you could get balls that would like do special things. Like you get a ball where you hit it and it just like rockets off. Or you get a ball where these are the only two that I remember. There were much more interesting ones, but like one where when it landed, it was just going to stop. It wasn't going to roll or anything. Like so, you could get it in the exact spot that you wanted it to, and things like that. I remember that, and it's like I said, it's probably not a very good game, but that is one that really and truly I hadn't thought about for a very long time. But you just like triggered that.
There were a couple of like combative. Sports games that shouldn't have been combative sports games. Ninja Golf, right?
Ninja Golf on the Atari 7800.
Right.
Yeah, where you strike the ball. Okay, you strike the ball, and then you have to go to it. But on your way there, gophers and ninjas are trying to kill you. And if you go into the sand trap, then it's scorpions. And then once you get on the green, rather than putting in, you have to kill a dragon. So that's it. Now, if we're going to talk about arcades and golf, we need to talk about Golden Tee. Which that game was broken knuckles waiting to happen.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So you have
trackball.
So yeah, you have a trackball, and the I think it is ingenious. The power of your drive is based on how fast you get that ball spinning, and the angle of the drive is based a lot of ways on how like you hit that ball. If you hit it just off as that, so it's a very interesting, unique way to kind of simulate golf in the arcade. The problem is you'd get these people that would be like, it's like, fucking let's go. And like, they will fucking try to rocket this thing. And there is a huge amount of distance because they realize, if we try to make this happen this way, people are going to break their hands. And people are still like fucking popping knuckles and fucking fingertips on the screen because they're like trying, like their motions are almost kind of discus throwing like, where they just like ramp up and go and like, oh my God.
And Golden Tee, I feel like that's one where it's kind of in between a simulation and arcade, because it definitely has like arcadey feels, but it's definitely trying to be golf and do all the things. Well, and the trackball adds that extra kind of dexterity that comes with like trying to swing a golf ball, golf club, not golf
it's
ball.
Kind of rigged in another way. Also, like there's another way to look at arcades is games that could quote unquote only be in the arcade. Like a lot of these things, once the home console can kind of simulate everything, but like that particular style with the trackball and that's an arcade machine. Whereas like if you probably got that version on the Super Nintendo or the N64, later the PlayStation, later maybe the Xbox, you'd have it on a controller, and then those controls pretty much become samey across the board.
That's true too. Base Wars was one of my favorite combative, shouldn't have been combative to sports games because baseball with robots. Did you ever play that one, Brady?
No.
So you would play the game and you'd play like a season or whatever, and you'd win the first game, and then you earned money in the game to upgrade your robots to have a better robot arm to throw better.
Okay.
And some of them had treads. You could put treads on your robots to make them like move faster.
Some
when
of them
they
had hover discs, so they'd be floating around. And if there was ever a close call at the base, rather than have like an umpire decide it, you just fought it out. And so you had a fighting game.
I never played that, but I'm almost certain that my brother played that. Because I remember actually being interested in the game because it was robots doing it and not just like
it's not just sports,
not just humans.
You get like you get a unicycle wheel was like deceptively like the best thing in the game, because what you do, you get the unicycle wheel and then you just speed towards your opponent and then you just start doing fucking cartwheels into him and murdering the shit out of him. It's fucking insane.
When you brought up trackballs, and that reminded me of one of the funnest and most impossible arcade games to ever get past stage 1 in ever, and that was 720. It was a skateboard.
That was the Atari skateboarding game, right?
No, this was well, I don't know if Atari put it out or not, but 720. If they did, it was like, because it was like late 80s, and it was an arcade cabinet. And you had a trackball, and man, was that thing hard to fucking navigate. It was fucking insane. And then they made a sequel to that game, but it was a sequel to the Nintendo console. Called Skate or Die.
I've heard of Skate or
Or
Die.
Skate or Die might have came first. I don't remember, but I know 720 was arcade only originally.
720 shows is Midway Games West.
Yeah.
Tengen and Turtex.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah. So you had Skate or Die, and then you had 720. And those games are kind of like, also 720 was actually more of a simulation of a skateboard game. Than anything else.
That's I think one, like, I don't think we need to talk about it now because I think extreme sports games we can talk about as another topic. But that's where, like, when it comes to like skateboarding and most extreme sports games, like that's where you're going to get mostly arcadey. There was only ever, I think,
I want to ask this question then very briefly: Tony Hawk, arcade or simulation, or can it be both?
The early ones are definitely.
I think 1 and 2 are both arcade games.
1, 2, 3. I played the shit out of 3. Like,
right.
They were all until like, what was that? Project 8. That was when it started being more of a simulation.
And then there was the one that like they gave you an infrared skateboarding peripheral.
Yeah, that one was terrible.
I think the only one I've played was like Tony Hawk, like skate, like the skate games. When I like
skate game, I think is the closest to like a simulation.
But
because you were always doing like wacky things with those games.
Oh yeah, like you have to like topple like an ice cream cooler onto a Yeti, who would then punch a dude in the face, and you get the Yeti rage unlocked.
Yeah,
for that
Tony Hawk, you'd have to like collect 5 videotapes.
Tony Hawk
Find
Underground
skate.
2. That's what I played the most.
Yeah,
Find
Tony Hawk,
letters.
the undergrounds were like really. I think there was one underground where it was like Bam Margera versus Tony Hawk, and the Tony Hawk side was supposed to be more simulation, and the Bam Margera side was supposed to be more funny. But I think it kind of still all. But I think those are definitely like those are like arcadey.
The foremost memory is me playing as Iron Man using the Iron Man skateboard while also skating at a Kiss concert with Gene Simmons in the background.
Tony Hawk 2 with Spider-Man and his special trick where he basically throws the deck away and then like gets his webs to pull it back to him. He's pulling all around.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
The one I played most of all was Tony Hawk 3, where you could be Darth Maul and he'd force choke the board.
Nice.
But But yeah,
I got so sick of the song Amoeba from that game.
Most of the like extreme sports games. There was one, I think it was called
BMX Triple X. No, sorry, I had to get
was,
that joke in there.
That was definitely
Dave Mira did not like that game.
No, of course, because Dave Mira BMX, the first one, is one of my favorite like extreme sports games.
And Matt Hoffman, the first one's one of mine.
But the what was it? 1080 snowboarding.
For
it was
the
like
Nintendo, yeah.
No, this was PlayStation 1 that I had. This like
I could have sworn 1080 was a specific.
There might have been one for both.
Or no, it was MTV Pure Ride. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, because 1080 snowboarding was a like that was
I think
like
there were multiple 1080 snowboardings though. But MTV Pure Ride, that was more of that was as close to a simulation as you were probably going to get of that.
Okay, I just need to say this because this is gonna. Okay, the designers for 1080 snowboarding, Shigeru Miyamoto and Hiroshi Yamauchi.
Damn.
Developers, Nintendo Entertainment Analysis and Development, and Nintendo. Yeah, if you played that on a PlayStation, I want to know that story.
But
I played Cool Borders.
Yep.
But yeah, and again, I think we need to save this for another one. But I think most of those ended up being on the arcadey side, just because that was the easiest. That was the easier way to do it. Because really, kind of like, and I think that comes from like the whole ethos of like the extreme sports was that you wanted to do like crazy shit.
Right.
So you might as well make it a little goofy too.
Yeah.
So that's where that comes from.
This is probably one of the most recent games I've played. I would consider. Have y'all heard of Lethal League?
I have not.
No,
Jay.
No.
Okay. It came out on Steam a few years ago. It's more. I would say this is more so like an indie style arcade sports game. The premise is you're in a box and you're hitting the shit out of this ball that like bounces off the walls, and the goal is to not be hit by the ball. You can play different characters that has special abilities. Whenever you hit the ball, you can play as a crocodile that eats the ball and you're able to shoot it at your opponent. You can play a tennis player that when you hit the ball, it curves, so that way it hits your opponent in the back. It's just like absolute ridiculousness that I think would be categorized as like arcadey, wacky, that also involves sports. Because I'd say it's more so like tennis meets baseball almost, and it's just like wacky and fun.
Now, I need to have alligators in soccer. Who's gonna call a handball against an alligator?
So there's also like what was it, Mutant League Football?
I was just thinking of that one. I have vivid memories of seeing that in the cover of that in the video store. I never played it because I was super young and it was kind of scary to me because you have like a skeleton in like a metal spiked helmet and this weird mutant thing and that's like running over, and I was like, oh, this is weird, but this is also kind of cool.
That's another game that had a spiritual successor like decades later, which I like the notion of it. Like, to me, what I loved about Mutant League Football was the fields were all different. Like, you had like traps and potholes, and like, and the potholes go straight to hell, and you like Nasty Audible C is the greatest. It's like you could bribe the ref, and the only way to deal with that problem, if you had a ref bribe against you, is called Nasty Audible C, where you murdered the ref. It was amazing.
From the images I'm seeing from this, it reminds me of the Blood Bowl video game that they came out with.
Yeah,
just very similar aesthetics.
Yeah, which is pretty much the one that I played. I haven't played the newest version of it. I think I have Blood Bowl 2. It's basically a shot for shot. Just this is the game. This is the board game, but in a video game sense. Like if you're playing that, you're playing the board game.
Which I will say this, as far as like maintaining admin, it keeps it very strict. I kind of like that. I do. Like if you want to get into Blood Bowl, I would say on sale get like Blood Bowl 2 or 3 and see how you like that. And if you like that, and if you want to get into the physical game, I would say do that. Otherwise, if you don't like that, you're not gonna like playing Blood
right,
Bowl.
because it's almost like turn based too, isn't it?
It is completely turn based.
Yeah.
You there's 8 rounds a half, and each round is I go, you go.
There's also like, and this is going to be stretching it a bit, but there's also some very fun arcadey sports games that are, I don't know, like Cruising USA. I don't consider that a sports game, even though it's racing. Even though racing can be considered a sport.
I consider Sega's racing games like the Daytona series that I consider sports games because it's designed to be kind of like a stock car and open wheel racing game. Cruising USA is a driving game,
right?
And I make that distinction because yes, there's still races and things like that, but I think there's a lot of it. There's a lot to it that I think it's pulled so far in the arcade direction that it's not.
It's like Outrun. Outrun is like a driving game.
Outrun is a driving.
But Pole Position, that's a racing game.
Yeah,
right?
100%. 100%.
And
you got like
Pole Position is trying to simulate an open wheel racing
right?
Game.
Yeah. I mean, you can get to that like when it comes to like usually in that vein. I don't even know. Do they even make like NASCAR games anymore? I know they used to, but like
they definitely. I don't know about NASCAR, but they make. They still.
I know they still make a like Gran Turismo.
Yeah, well, like right now, like the simulation style games are like your Gran Turismo, your Forza.
They still make F1 as well.
Yeah. But like those are like your simulation style, and then you've got like Need for Speed or Burnout. Those are your more arcade games.
Make some people mad.
Okay.
So,
well,
there's Tour de France as well, but they don't make those every year.
Most NASCAR races, for me, are exceedingly boring. And I don't I don't mean to it is disparaging on the it's not that it's bad, it's that it's not for me. It is 800 left turns.
Yeah.
Is what for me is what a NASCAR event is.
I will say like there's a lot of skill and stuff in it, but like it is not fun to watch.
There's a superior amount of skill to it. I think in making it safer, this is disgusting to say this, and I think in making it safer, they took out one piece of it that everybody like secretly wants to see, which are large crashes and like actual danger in the sport. Again, I think
even before that, it was still like very boring. Stock car racing is not like super fun to watch.
But stuff like open road courses, like F1 races, where like they're actually like you have to make a right turn every now. There are some open road courses in NASCAR, and honestly, those I dig. I dig watching those races because.
But when it's like the oval of the constant left turn.
Well, specifically like Talladega. Like Talladega has those two just large straight stretches, and it's all about like like it used to be how fast can we get these things up to, but when you start getting into restrictor plate racing where it's limiting how fast you can go, once you've hit, everybody's gonna hit the top speed, and it's just this sequence of like where can you catch it. I would be if you dropped the last zero on the Daytona 500. I think it would make a more exciting race. You've got 50 miles instead of 500. It's 1/10 the size.
Well, yeah,
like,
of course.
It's so long, like you can't. Like
they need those advertising dollars, though.
I don't understand it, to be honest, as well, because you get like, there's no tension in the sport until like towards the very end,
until I say like maybe like the final 25 laps.
But like for the most part, it's not. To me, a fun, and like most racing I can't like watch, but I'll get more interest out of something like, you know, Formula One or those where it's like courses, and those are also kind of interesting because the courses are made like in the middle of a city and shit like that.
Yeah, like Monaco shuts down for the Grand Prix.
Yeah, like shit like that is cool.
The last NASCAR game that came out was in 2020.
Wow. That's interesting.
But along that line too, you also have iRacing, which to me is trying to perfectly simulate racing.
NASCAR has an iRacing game coming out next year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that, but like because that's where that's going. Because I have a friend at work who actually engages in that. In fact, he rode in a simulated Indy 500 and placed second.
Oh wow.
simulated. That's where we're going towards simulation. I would be interested in an arcade version of that, but I would say this again. And I think it's one of the reasons why Blitz had to go away is, yeah, oh, cool. Look, I can pile drive this dude after tackling.
But yeah,
him.
because the NFL didn't want that to happen.
Yeah, because we have stuff involving CTE and a whole bunch, and like people actually getting legitimately injured. Like, forget that stuff. Like, I still think back to the Joe Theismann injury. Like I mentioned LT earlier. The first person to scream for help for him was actually LT because the way he came down on his leg, it could have killed Joe Theismann. Same way, like almost like 30 years later when Alex Smith had the almost exact same injury, playing for the exact same team in almost the exact same spot on the field. God bless. So yeah, I think there is something to be said. Like you want it as close to simulation but cutting out some of those parts, because when you cartoonify some of this stuff, it kind of trivializes what some of these people go through.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite arcade style racing games, besides the obvious Burnout series, was Midnight Club, especially specifically Midnight Club 2 for the PS2.
Yeah,
that game I clocked in probably
was
two.
Midnight Club Rockstar?
I believe it was early Rockstar.
I think so, yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Rockstar. And it was such a good game. It was such
Rockstar.
it was such a good game. Based off of actual insane street racing that went over in Japan in the specifically in the mid 80s to the mid 90s. Illegal street racing is what and that's what it was based off of, and it was fucking awesome. Well, I mean, does anybody have any closing quotes or ideas?
I'd like to cap it with something that
Yeah.
just recently was revealed, but I would like everybody, like, if you got anything else to say, I'd like.
I'm gonna end it on Midnight Club 2 for myself.
Burnout 3 Takedown is probably one of my
That's a good.
Burnout 2,
Yeah.
yeah.
Takedown is probably
Yeah,
the
Takedown is
best,
amazing.
The
What
best.
well,
just racing.
it's sim racing with out of control physics once you get into the actual crashes on that one.
I like that one better than Paradise, in my personal opinion.
That's a bold statement. I agree with you. Burnout 3 is actually my favorite of the series. So we talked about NBA Jam, and its spiritual successor is about to be coming out in arcades. Like legitimately, these are arcade machines that we be put in arcades. It's called NBA Superstars. Rather than 2 players, it's going to be 3. It's 3-on-3 with an additional player from each team. So you're gonna have 120 players across all 30 NBA teams. The original voice of NBA Jam is coming back to do the audio for the game.
That's amazing.
So,
That's pretty cool.
So if you needed the term spiritual successor, underline 3 times and in bold. Boom, it's right there.
Yeah, all you have to do is find an arcade. Good luck.
Yep. Yeah, these machines are going to be $45,000.
Well, yeah, of course. And they're going to be $5 a play to make that money
probably.
back.
for the first quarter.
yeah.
Not 25 cents. The first quarter of the basketball game. Yeah.
Jesus, have you seen what the arcade cabinet looks like?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you have like flashing lights, actual scoreboard technology and shit. Yeah. It's simulating.
That's going in what's Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, this is a
yeah.
Dave and Buster's.
definitely.
Yeah.
David,
You-
like
you have to
Margaritaville, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say this right now. If they put that in the Margaritaville, we're all going down there. We're
Oh,
playing it.
yeah.
It's 2-on-2, so this entire cast can play at the same time. And we can get volcano nachos and it'll be perfect. There you go.
Yeah, I think there has been lately a kind of moving away from like the arcade style and the weirder games, and I think it has to do it's less about like the sports games and more about how like the industry is like just trying to be very safe. And it's, you know, simulation games are very safe because you can pack them full of microtransactions,
Right.
and loot boxes and all kinds of bullshit like that. And you know, they have proven that people are going to, you know, since probably about 2005, Madden has come out with very minor changes, and it's just been a roster update every single year, and it's going to come out every single year. And when they do something, and even if they do something in Madden that's like interesting or a little bit different, they're not going to do it for the next one. Like it's going to go back to like So it's the safe thing, it's the easy thing, and it makes so much money because these games, like I think FIFA is one of the most bought games of like all time. You know,
well, I mean, it being the number one sport in the world, like it's not just American appeal; it's like worldwide appeal. And meanwhile, like a man spent $30,000 on his Madden Ultimate Team and lost. And to me, first of all, you've already thrown your money away with that. Like I get the notion of gacha games, and I play one. I will admit that. I've not come close to $30,000.
Right.
And that's one of his Madden Ultimate Teams. What the
insane.
fuck?
One thing I did want to actually, because of what you said, Brady, mention, and that'll be my final note, is the sad thing about the games industry is companies that would be making games like that, let's just say double A companies that would be making a game like that, are being bought out by bigger companies. And then after they release a very successful game, getting shut down because they got to like make money somewhere else from something else that failed.
Well, you got to show a profit. You know, you have to show a profit every single year. But that's a
different story.
That's
for
a whole
different
different
time.
story. And it's indicative of that. I miss arcade style games, and you just don't get them as much anymore.
You don't.
Because if I was gonna play I've played a little bit of Madden here and there. You know, I played some of the like UFC games and stuff like that. And those are kind of like in between. At least the ones I play, I think more now they are pretty simulation.
Oh,
heavy.
yeah.
And even like the wrestling games are like pretty much simulations where they're super complicated and it's very hard to like do everything that you want to do. But
my father, he had when we still had our PS2, he had a boxing game that was probably like one of the most simulation style games I've seen. Where it's like you like a creative fighter and you go through.
Sounds like Fight Night.
Fight Night.
probably Fight Night.
That sounds very familiar. Yeah. That I think when it comes to like the simulation games, that's probably one of the best ones I've played.
Real talk, I think that's one of the best EA games of all time.
I'd have
Fight
to
Night
agree.
Round 2.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Fight Night Round 2. That's
Round
what it
2
was.
and Round 3 was pretty good too. I
That
played
was when
both
they
of those.
introduced you move the stick.
The stick. It was genius.
to do.
Yeah.
It was absolutely
That was a
genius.
very fun game. I've actually played that one a little bit.
I
But
think
like,
that one kind of like it's borderline because
Now,
I mean
one thing that's not simulation about that is the cold plates that you use to like reduce ice swelling. They don't work that good.
No.
Yeah.
They just don't.
yeah,
no.
practically just circle.
But yeah, that one I would still label as like a simulation
It's
because you
sort
still
of-
have to
yeah.
like you do like the corner man shit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like you're it's more simulation than I would argue because moving the stick and like figuring out how you're going to like punch and everything like that is so much different. Is so much more than just okay. I press this button to throw a jab. I press this button to throw a hook. But yeah, for the most part, like if I was going to play a sports game, it's probably I would prefer an arcade style game. And we just don't have that as much anymore, and it is kind of sad. But I mean, that is more indicative of the video games industry as a whole than just about like sports games.
I think that's a good note to end on.
It was round 3. Round 3.
Round three.
That was a good one.
Round 3.
Yeah.
Ethan, Papa Show.
Papa Show.
Ew.
Whiskey
Jay.
and wrestling. Whiskey and wrestling.
I was about to hit the echo to help you.
If you enjoy a nice alcoholic beverage, if you enjoy modern age and or past age wrestling,
In Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Blood Money 2024.
give a listen to our
I
good
did enjoy
friends Jason
It's
Holder.
all right. It's all right.
I'm never gonna watch it.
Jason Holder and Michael Hill, Whiskey and Wrestling. They talk about the ongoings
I did hear
of,
Gunter and Randy Orton was really good.
Yeah, it was a good match. Sami Zayn, man.
Yeah, Sami Zayn's good.
check them out. Whiskey and Wrestling.
I have a special request for them. Do another Cascade Wrestling review. I want some more proper, like old pay-per-view wrestling reviews from y'all. Y'all do good jobs with that.
Jay.
Yeah, and if you do that, you don't have to watch new wrestling.
Also true.
It saves your headaches.
Yeah.
Oh, me? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. My
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Fear. It is the mind killer. It is the little death that brings absolute oblivion. Find out about it on Fearology. J.L. Kite's history of horror, personal and otherwise, as he talks about comments. Sometimes he'll talk about cats
Yeah,
and how they're horror.
That's true.
Sometimes he'll talk about. Have you done horror? Have you done Frankenhooker yet?
No, I haven't done Frankenhooker.
Horror. That's Fearology.
See the echo. It says horror for itself.
Available on Spotify.
Brady, do a show.
Silence your cell phones. Jared Hubbard and Kevin Sheldon watch movies and talk about them, and they're on all the places that you can listen to podcasts.
Ethan, tell us about Bearded Drums.
Stephen Nelson II and Jared Taylor. They talk about drumming and music. Stephen Nelson uploads his own drumming videos on YouTube. Bearded Drums.
Nice.
Now that everybody's completely
Turn this shit off.
shut it off.
Either that or they dropped acid before that, and now they're gone.
Let the person that has one lung with the echo effect.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're making up for the lack of lung.
Yeah.
Jay, tell us about the other one.
Which other one?
The one about
The one that I normally do.
card games.
Oh, okay.
The completed podcast. Christopher Vega, Brandon Scott Tanner, and Brandon Smith take you through the world of Magic the Gathering.
I feel like I'm in an H.P. Lovecraft story.
He's not
I
being
thought
racist.
you said HP love crap, and I was like, "What? That what?"
He's not being racist enough to be in an H.P. Lovecraft story.
My cat's name is No. No. Anyway, the completed podcast.
We'll bring you news and views in the world of competitive Magic, from mostly from the modern and what's some other scenes? Modern, standard, yeah.
Pioneer,
Pioneer, yeah.
There you go.
Limited.
Yeah. And then also some of the best interviews I've heard with Magic pro players that I have ever had the chance to listen to. So again, that is the completed podcast, available on all major podcasting avenues.
I don't know why I'm being incredulous about this. It's not like anybody's listening to this part of the podcast.
That's also true.
I know 90% of podcasts, I have turned it off by this point.
I'm legitimately doing this for the people who do listen to this part. Just for
I'm
some
certain that
weird,
they'll love
some
this.
weird. If they're that weird, yes, they love this.
Hit me with the echo, Jay.
You want the echo?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
hang
hit
on.
me
So
with
you're at your echo 3. Hang on. Code echo 3. Go.
We would like to thank Cameron Spaniard, sole proprietor and operator of McNarb Gaming, for allowing us to use this studio space. McNarb Gaming, for all of your puzzles, not minis, card games, dice. Goshen, Mississippi.
Yeah, you want Games Workshop stuff? Fuck you. Go somewhere else.
Leave it in. They don't care.
Those are the words of the owner. He approves this message.
He does.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
What did I ever do in this world to serve some fucking dumb fuck like Games Workshop to go into business for themselves in Daphne, Alabama?
2 whole hours away. I've been Jody Kite.
I've been Ethan Skinner.
I'm James McCarthy.
I've been Brady Davis.
Thanks a lot for
Yeah.
listening. All right.
Survived.
Good night.
Yep. Y'all have a good one. I'm going to sit here for a second.
Yeah, go ahead. Take your time.
I'm very tie-tie.
Yeah. Talking about arcade sports games, I'll do that too.
I know Lumpy. Yes, I remember that clip.
Yeah. I like that their laughter sounds like a squeaky toy going off while you're saying that as well. It's great.